Are we pronouncing Justin Riele's last name correct?
I don't know.
It's a little bit embarrassing at this stage.
My name is
Justin Riele.
My name is
Justin Riele.
My name is
Justin Riele.
My name is
This is the
Can
best.
we get an official name pronunciation? Justin Riele. It's been real, really. It's been my entire life. I don't. I'm used to it now. But official last name is Riele. It's Italian, and it'd be nice if people got it right, but I don't really care. Cool. Stealing Talbot and Lionel's idea for this one with a little fireside chat with Organic Ironman, who also braved the crazy conditions with me this weekend at 70.3 Mont Tremblant. What a day, man. What a day.
It's crazy. Yeah, I apologize for the lack of video coverage, but not only was I racing, my girlfriend stayed in the car the whole time, so.
Yeah. I was there with my wife and in-laws, so while Kyle and I were there, we didn't hang out too much, but we were going to Placid together, so we'll be filming the whole thing. But if you watched Outside TV's great coverage of the race, you might have caught a little bit of it, but we're here to make this video to walk you through the race recap from my perspective at the front of the pro race, and Kyle will share some of his thoughts from the amateur race. And it was just it was a crazy day out there. Like, it was just pissing rain from the start at 4 in the morning after that alarm went off. And what was going through your mind when you walked outside at 4:30 in the morning in the pitch black, just pouring rain?
Well, I woke up at 3:30 and I just stepped outside in my pajamas, my boxers essentially, and I let it rain on me, and I just embraced it from the moment I woke up. I just kind of had that F it mentality. I knew Justin was racing it, and I knew over 2,000 other people had to race in this, so I wasn't going to waste my energy to complain and just embrace the suck, essentially.
I was mentally prepared. It was a 100% chance of rain the day before the race, but nothing really prepared me for how bad it was going to be. It was nuts.
But it was your breakthrough race, right? Breakthrough race, 4th overall, huge. I mean,
yeah.
I saw you on the bike, saw you on the run, and I mean, I think my heart rate was definitely the most spiked when I saw you, for sure. I was so pumped up.
Yeah, we were coming back on the out and back, and I see Kyle, and I just I was at the front of the pro race.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I saw oh my God, Justin's having today.
Yeah, I just come around Lionel and Marquardt, and I pointed at Kyle. I was like, let's go. Yeah. And then I saw you going into the finish and shoot. That was pretty epic.
That was cool.
But yeah, man, breakthrough race for me. 4th place in a stacked field. I've made the podium once before in Cozumel, but this was a totally different beast. And 4 minutes off the win, which is way closer than I've ever been to Lionel. And we just had a huge gap off the bike. So yeah, I'll walk people through kind of how the race went down. But race morning, got to transition, horrible. Never want to relive it again. Yeah, just awful. But you have to stay so mentally present and just forget about it. And I used it to my advantage. I've always raced well in tough conditions. I definitely have never raced in the rain. I'm not even sure I've ever ridden my bike in the rain. But I just figured, all right, this is going to play to people who can ride hard and stay tough and stay hard and not let it get to you mentally. And so, the race morning was horrible. But then as soon as the gun went off, I actually had a blast all the way until the finish line.
Yeah, when I was going into the swim start, I saw you. They gave you an introduction, and then shortly after that, they changed the swim course, and it was chaos. And I'm just over there, just like, oh my God, trying to listen in. But I was watching you, were really calm. Like, while other pros were asking a bunch of questions, you stayed real calm and present. And watching the footage, obviously overtaking Ben, who was the strongest swimmer in the field, would you say?
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of us that were driving the pace, but yeah, at the swim start, I was just lining up next to Kanute. I knew that was going to be somebody who was going to be driving the front of the pace. Yeah. So and we're standing there and thinking they could cancel this swim, and I wouldn't be that surprised. And literally by the minute, the rain was going harder, the wind was picking up, and then all of a sudden you couldn't see the last buoy.
Visibility went crazy.
And then we just see the red turn buoy coming in. And we're like, they're literally changing the swim course at 6:48, and the gun was supposed to go off at 6:50. And then all of a sudden they say, okay, we're starting at 6:55 now. And we're like, okay, so what is the course? And they couldn't really tell us. They were like, you just go around the red buoy, it'll be somewhere out there.
or it was in French, and I had no understanding of what anyone was telling me. French Canadian is different than French.
It was so French. Yeah, it felt incredibly foreign. It felt like we were in Europe. It was pretty cool.
I know, it was cool. It was cool.
So yeah, I get dropped in the takeout immediately. Kanute just put a gap into us, but I was right in second, actually with 4 other guys all lined up next to me. I think one of them was Marquardt, one of them was Pereira from Portugal, and I knew I was in a good spot. I was like, all right, if Ben gets away by himself, not that worried about it. But after about 400 meters, I started feeling really good, and then I was able to put in a surge and bridge us back up to Kanute's feet. Sat there for about 400 meters before actually coming around him and taking the lead and pushing the pace myself for about 400, 500 meters, which felt cool. You know, leading the pro swim, I felt really, really good in the water. So it's cool to see all the work in the pool pay off. And I knew it was going to be a good day from there because I just felt strong and the effort was controlled, and got out of the water in second and, you know, ran through T1, did pretty well. You know, I was like right with Kanute, and he has a crazy fast high-end run through T1. So I was able to get on the bike right in that front group and immediately get to the front with Ben and start hammering. And before we knew it, I think within 10 miles, it was just me, Ben, and Matt Marquardt pushing the pace. I put in a big surge. Marquardt was right there. Ben was right there in third wheel. Then Marquardt came around me. I knew he was going to be feeling great. And so, yeah, pretty quickly, it was just the 3 of us, and we were out there from miles 10 to 30. We got to one turnaround, and we realized, you know, that's going to be the gap. And it was only 1 minute to Lionel and 8 other guys, maybe 7 other guys. So I got scared thinking, oh my gosh, Lionel is going to bridge up a huge group in the next 5 miles, and we're going to have 9 of us up there. And so we really just kept pushing the pace. I got to the front. I kind of tried to drop Marquardt and Ben, but you know, it was I was happy to work with them. Ben was in third, struggling a little bit. We kind of let, you know, we'd build a gap, me and Matt, and then he'd bridge back up, and then we'd build a gap and he'd bridge back up. So he definitely worked a little harder than I think he had to, but he just hung really tough all day and had really good legs and put out huge power. And Matt was super strong, like just as strong as me, if not even a little bit stronger. We shared, I think, the work probably 50-50 on the front. And then when Lionel came around us right at the base of this big climb at mile 35, I knew, okay, this is the make or break moment. And that's where I think it got shown on Outside TV, and there was a clip, and Lionel came around us, and I look over at him and I said, let's go, like, let's push the pace.
What'd you really say?
So at that moment, I think I said, like, let's go. And then like a few miles later, I had come around Lionel, put in a big surge, tried to drop everyone, and then Lionel came back around me and I said, let's drop these
Yes.
And because I wanted to get away with Lionel, knowing that Matt and Ben were probably going to have stronger runs than me, but I figured I could at least hang in a battle with them. I didn't know how Matt's run would be, but crazy strong despite not having run very much lately with his stress reaction. So yeah, huge kudos to him. But I wanted to drop them, and it just it worked. We dropped Ben when me, Lionel, and Matt were putting in huge surges, but then all 3 of us were really evenly matched through the final 15 miles. And because of the race ranger, as soon as someone would roll into the red, we'd go around and we'd take a turn on the front, and then the next guy would go. So we were just constantly passing each other the whole bike.
Was that a new iteration of Speed Ranger? They look different on the bike.
Yeah, it was a different, it's like their version 2, apparently.
2.0,
so, you know, you go from a yellow light when you're 14 to 17 meters away, then it turns blue from 12 to 14 meters, which is kind of your warning light, and then it turns red inside 12 meters. And so you really want to be riding in yellow and then having it kind of flicker blue, yellow, blue, yellow. And that means you're at 14. But as soon as you start holding blue from 13 to 14 meters behind, you have to be ready for it to turn red. And you really shouldn't be riding in the blue unless you are ready to make a pass. And so at certain times when I was like, all right, I'm feeling good, I'm ready to go around, I'm going to just ride in blue for a while. And if it happens to flick red, I'll make the pass. And so that's kind of how I rode. And I think I was able to ride really efficiently, like right at that 13, 14 meters. And then as soon as it would hit 12, I'd go. And then, yeah, Matt would go and Lionel would go. And there was a couple moments in the final climbs of the last 15 miles where it's super punchy, super steep, where all 3 of us were literally riding side by side because Lionel had made a pass around me, and then Matt had drifted into my draft zone and had to make the pass around me and Lionel. And so we're all just doing like 500 watts up the climb, and I was screaming like, fuck. I was literally screaming. And at one point I had drifted into Lionel's draft zone after he had just started to make a surge, and I was really worried I wouldn't be able to make the pass. I was going absolute all out. And I just screamed at Lionel. I was like, I'm trying to pass. And he like looked back and let me go because he didn't want to screw. Like no one wants to win a race by giving someone a penalty. Like we all respected each other enough, and we were riding so fairly, and we were all sharing the work that it was like, yeah, man, like you were not going to end your race by like making you drift in and then putting in a big surge. Right. So anyway, it resulted in this just awesome dynamic of all three of us pushing the pace, and then you turn around at mile 47 into 56, and I just hammered that downhill.
That was my favorite part of the course for sure.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, steep, technical, wet, a little scary. I had a little bit of a oh crap moment when I was going down, just flying in my aero bars. I had the 58-10 combination, so I was able to pedal at like 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I should actually look at my peak speed because it was...
I was going to ask you, what was your max speed?
It was crazy, dude. It was... max speed was 53.1. Yeah, 53 miles an hour. And then what's even crazier though is my fastest average 20-second speed was 53.
Jeez.
So I
what was the 2 minute?
The 2 minute was 46. Jeez. So for 2 minutes straight, I'm holding 46 miles an hour, and I can't see. I have no visor. Yeah. It's dark. It's wet everywhere, and going 46 miles an hour is scary for 2 minutes. Yeah. For a very long time, you're just flying, and so that's why we built a gap. I raced with big balls and took some risks, and getting off the bike. Once we made that turnaround, I realized we just had a massive gap to everybody but Ben, who was hanging tough about a minute behind us. But I realized how far the gap was to Jackson and was a bit surprised because we had all just ridden so hard. And so I led the race going into the run. I had a really quick T2. I didn't put socks on, which was, I don't know, kind of dumb in hindsight because my feet are so messed up right now. And I had this horrible blister after the race, but it didn't impact my run, thankfully. It probably would have if it was a full, but I figured wearing socks in the wet conditions would be, not smart. So
when did you feel it?
I felt it on mile 4.
On your feet?
Yeah. It was a little rough. But, Lionel came by me. I knew it was going to be a race for second. Yeah. Matt bridged up to me and took the lead quickly and was running well. He was probably running like 540 pace, and I was running 550 pace. And just those 10 seconds per mile, probably took my effort from like 6 out of 10 to 9 out of 10. Yeah. And so we had a great run battle from miles 2 to 8. We ran stride for stride. He was leading for sure. I was hanging on for life right on his heels, but he wasn't really able to build a gap. At one point he had to stop, and I thought it was his tibia.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, he might be out of the race. He just stopped. I turned around, he was gone. And so I was solidly in second.
When he stopped there? Didn't. Well, again, there was no coverage of it.
Yeah.
All you saw was him stopping, and I was like, I thought he was already ahead of you at that point.
He was. He had to stop a couple times apparently, which is crazy because he still ran 115 low.
He stopped multiple.
His moving time was probably 113.
Wow.
Yeah. It was impressive. So, but yeah, I was able to hang with him for 6 miles, and he definitely pushed me to another level on the run, which was awesome. And then he built that gap, and then, I was running for third, and I was hanging tough from about miles 8 through 11 and a half, and then Ben came by me, and I was only able to hang with him for about 2 minutes, put in a big surge, and he just closed so strong and ended up beating out Marquardt. And I held on for fourth, and was just super, super stoked on the day. It's my highest points rating for PTO, and my biggest finish in a big field. First time ever beating Jackson Laundry. I've raced him 7 times in a row now, and he's beat me 6 times in a row. So that one felt good to beat him on a good day, and beat Leiferman, who ran a 112. So yeah, pretty crazy result. I'm very excited.
What did it feel like running that run PR?
Yeah, dude. I mean, 117.18 I think was my split. So, in the rain on a pretty hilly course. Decently good conditions, but just feels really validating. Like, I haven't done anything crazy with my run training. I've just been chipping away. I think I've averaged 35 miles a week, so not huge run volume, very little intensity since Chattanooga. But yeah, it feels great because I could taste that 115. I ran 115 pace for like 7 or 8 miles and then just faded. So I just think like the strength endurance, there's just a couple small improvements I have to make to get to the 115, 116 level. But now I can see that it's there, and I think I'm going to be hard to beat if I can run 114, 115 off the bike every time.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows on a hilly, tough course in these conditions how much the bike matters and how much the pack dynamics matter, because 12-meter draft is real when you're averaging 27.5 miles an hour, 28 like we did like in Chattanooga, in in all these races, like you've got to be in the front group unless you're Lionel, basically, unless you can put out Lionel power or Trevor Foley power or Sam Long power. You know, those are the only three guys I think in the Ironman circuit so far that I've seen in the 70.3 racing at least that have the ability to do, say, 340, 360 watts normalized throughout the whole race to get to the front.
That's what you normalized?
I normalized 330 watts, averaged about 300. I did 40 minutes above 350. You know, 2-minute power. Let's see what the data is for all the power nerds out there. It was
Like me.
yeah, like you. 2-minute power was 411. 10-second power was 611. You know, and 6 minutes at 370. So the power was actually the same as Oceanside, St. George, and Chattanooga. Like within those conditions, it was a lot harder to execute, but it wasn't like I was doing numbers I've never done before.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I was just doing it at just that 1% to 2% easier effort that allowed me to run much better off the bike and feel a little bit fresher. And then combined with Matt doing work and Lionel doing work, you know, the time gap was just bigger.
Do you think that's the reason you ran so well? You ran a PR?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I'm just getting stronger and the bike's getting easier at the same effort, or at the same watts, basically. You know, if the ride is at 8 out of 10 effort instead of a 9 out of 10 effort, that's the difference between running, I think, 117 versus 119. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you told me your mantra for the race was you belong, right? So when did you use the mantra? And then, you know, what did it feel like finishing with that mantra?
Yeah. I mean, I've always had this routine of mantras going into races. Like I just write them down on my phone the day before, and they're just little sayings that I'll repeat in my head when things get hard, mostly on the run. But, you know, I think You Belong was one that my coach gave me, and it's just about, I still feel like an amateur. Like I am an amateur. I have a job. I just did freaking 7 Zoom meetings today, and like I just sometimes I feel like man, these guys are too good for me. I can't compete. And so the You Belong was just like, you belong at the front of the pro race. Like you are here, you've arrived, you know, you are as strong as Lionel on the bike. Like I have to believe that, you know? And so, and being able to believe you can run a 117 instead of a 120 and jogging it in, like that's been a big thing. So I really used it, I think, on the run and pushing the pace with Matt and Lionel. Once things were going well, it's like, all right, you belong, baby. Like you've made it, you got it. And yeah, just a confidence inspiring saying for me. And I think, you know, finishing fourth like solidifies that, you know.
That's big. What's next?
Next is Ironman Lake Placid. It'll be my first ever pro full distance race. My last Ironman was Kona in 2022, where, you know, if you put me in the pro field, I was probably getting beat by an hour, over an hour, literally.
But you won your age group.
No, I was fifth.
Fifth.
Matt Marquardt won Kona and beat me by like 25 minutes or something. Like it wasn't even close. And so, and I never even saw him. He beat me out of the water, outbiked me, and outran me. And he might do that again in Ironman, but I don't think, I think I'll be able to get in the front swim group. My swim is great right now.
Great swim there too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah. And then we've got a ton of bike firepower in the race with Matt, me, Jackson, Lionel, Trevor, Braden Curry, Cam Worth. Like the lineup is just nuts. Yeah. It's going to be like, I think, you know, a huge Pro Series Ironman race. Probably stronger bike firepower than I think was at Texas. I think it's going to be hard to win that race with how hilly it is, unless you bike in the front group.
Yeah.
And for me, my big outside long shot goal, and the reason I signed up for this, is to try to grab one of the 4 Kona slots. And I always said, okay, I'm going to do Ironman Lake Placid if I believe I have a 20% chance of Kona qualifying. And now I really do. I don't think it's likely when you just look at the stats on paper. Mm-hmm. Like you've got Lionel, who doesn't have a slot. You got Trevor, who doesn't have a slot. And you have Jackson Laundry, who doesn't have a slot. And assuming those 3 guys beat me, and they definitely will all have stronger marathons on paper, then there's 1 slot for grabs, is kind of how I look at it. And I believe I can get that slot. If I get off the bike in the front group with Matt and Lionel and we push the pace like we did and we have a big gap and I can run, you know, I've never run under 3:17 in an Ironman, which is slow. Yeah. Like that is not a pro level marathon time. So I'm going to be looking to break 3 hours for the first time. I have run a 2:37 marathon open years ago, and I believe I could be in the 2:50 range at Placid, but I don't know. Ironman, you don't like train for Ironman by doing 112-mile bike rides and 20-mile long runs. And if you're doing that, like maybe a guy like Sam Long or someone will do that, but I don't think that's the way to get ready for this thing. I think you'll just be smoked by the time you get to the start line. And so I'm going to go take a big recovery this week, make sure I'm really quite in good shape by the weekend to get after it. And then I'll do a hard 10-day block. I'm going down to San Diego to do a 4 or 5 day training camp with some EMJ teammates on Everyman Jack. And we'll do some big days. Our biggest day will be like 4 hours with 2 times 1 hour at Ironman watts, which is going to be 300 for me.
Any of those guys doing it?
George Hoffman,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
That's my boy.
My buddy will be out there chasing his Kona slot in the
nice,
amateur
yeah.
field. So, and then we'll be out there with Felder, and me, Kyle, and Felder will be staying in a Airbnb in Lake Placid getting ready. So yeah, I'm gonna do that race. Hopefully, grab an outside Kona slot, and if that doesn't shape out, I'll figure out what the fall looks like for me. But this is really part 2 of a 3-part season, which is Mont Tremblant and Placid. Then I'll take a little break and get ready for a big fall race in New Zealand.
Yeah. Nice. What do you have to say to Mark Dubrick?
Mark Dubrick, my recent rival.
New rival.
New rival on PTO. PTO rankings gives you this little like rival based on your results, which is hilarious because Mark has only just kicked my butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that guy. I'm chasing him. I got some names I'm still taking down. I got one for Jackson. I got Leiferman. I have never beat Kanute. I've never beat Marquardt. Definitely never beat Lionel. So yeah, never beat Mark. But I love that friendly, competitive spirit of racing, and it's cool to just be going head to head with these guys.
Yeah, real rivals don't stay at your house every once in a while. That's
True. All right, we're gonna go live on Instagram for the first time. I'm nervous. Now we're stealing Mark Dubrick's content idea.
I do like his videos. I like
They're
when he
great.
does that. Who is that guy that he does it with,
His
though?
name's Seth. Super
Seth?
nice dude.
Yeah.
He's an amateur. Really nice guy. He runs a podcast. All right, we'll call it 70.3 Mont Tremblant race recap Q&A. See if anyone has any questions. If no one has questions, we'll just talk about the race
Yeah.
while Lauren is cooking. You can say hello.
Couscous tonight, right?
Salmon, baby. All right, Salmon and Athletic Brewing are my 2 beers. What's up, Caden? You're first person to join.
first time caller, kind of nervous.
First time going live on Instagram. Here to just do a quick, there's Shay.
Shay.
She's like, why are you not home for dinner? So we just recorded our YouTube video. This is my boy Kyle, Organic Ironman, and we are here to just do a quick 70.3 Mont Tremblant race recap and Q&A. So what did you say to Lionel when you rode by? What's up, Feder? I said, the first thing I said was, hey, my legs feel good, let's go. That's what the outside TV coverage was. And then I went back around Lionel, show him, hey, you're not dropping me. I'm ready to do work with you. We're dropping these guys. And so a couple miles later, I was so amped up. I said, let's drop these and I yelled it. And he's like, on the mountains. And because I wanted to get rid of Matt and Ben. And I felt really good going into the final 20 miles. And I knew Matt and Ben could outrun me. I knew it was going to be a good run battle.
That's the newest one.
So you, Matt, Lionel, we're really doing 500 watts side by side. No chance of losing Matt on the bike, you think? Yes, we really were. I mean, I can look at the exact watts. Maybe it was 460 or something, but it was high. And no chance of losing Matt. He was so strong. I tried. I really tried. Gave it everything I had. And then he really tried. He gave it everything he had to drop me in. Me, him, and Lionel were, I think, really evenly matched the final 15 miles. From Caden, how'd the custom front end feel compared to normal front end? Obviously some watts saved, but more comfortable or pretty similar. It's hard to say. It's super individual. I think bike fits are really, what I noticed is it felt super stiff. I loved the front end. It feels like an extension of the bike frame, where every other front end I've had, there's always a little bit of that jiggle and loss in stability when you hit bumps or turns and stuff. And this just feels so stiff. Like you can almost sit on it and it doesn't even move a millimeter. So I loved that. And it's custom built for me, so it's built for exactly my fit. It's not adjustable. You can't change the stack height or the reach or anything. So I had to make sure. Before getting a custom front end, I would suggest that anyone rides in their current position for like a full year without making a single tweak, because once you decide to drop $2,000, $3,000 on something like that, like you really can't change your fit.
I love this one.
What's happening first? Upstart back to $400 a share, or Justin getting his first pro win?
If it goes to 400, I'm getting to the same.
Yeah, so I work full time, for those who don't know, at a company called Upstart. I'm director of marketing, and we went public after I joined at $20 a share. We quickly went to 400, and now we're at 22. So it's been a roller coaster. I don't think we're going back to 400 anytime soon, but you never know. And first pro win. I think first pro win is probably more like
To 400, okay. If it was like 100, that'd be a little bit, but 400.
That's how Kyle and I met. Kyle used to work at Upstart.
Yeah.
So, I think I can get a pro win. I don't think I can win a pro series race right now, or in the near term, but I think I could win a non-pro series race around Kona. And my current thought is that if I don't Kona qualify at Lake Placid, I'll target a non-pro series race around the time of Kona and try to race for the podium or a win. Congrats on a solid race. Hope to see you on the podium. Yeah, I mean, would have been nice to get a podium, but I'm thrilled with fourth because I think my dream day was a top 6 here, and I'm gonna, be grateful. What's your least favorite day of training per week? From my coach. Least favorite day. Sunday's a close one. Yeah, I think it's Sunday because I have such good group. We have such a good social scene. Like Kyle and I train together at the pool with an awesome group Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Friday mornings. We've been doing almost all our Saturday sessions together
in the house,
indoors on the trainer for like 3 to 5 hours.
But Sundays you're like solo sometimes.
But Sundays
Lauren comes.
Lauren comes with me.
Yeah.
The last 2 Sundays have been fun. Lauren's cooking dinner behind us. Hello. Hey. Sundays I'm tired as hell from a big week. Saturday's my hardest big session, and I usually am trying to do 3 or 4K easy in the pool, which can be a grind because that's like my 20 to 23K of the week, and then I'm doing a long run, so 90 to 120 minutes usually, now on the treadmill. So yeah, that's probably the toughest one. That was sweet. I've ridden with Lionel a couple times, but not ever been able to actually share the work and push the pace with him. So I've just been hanging on for life. So what's this?
This will triathlon help with Riz.
I don't even know what that means.
The kids are crazy. The kids are crazy.
I'm like a millennial. I'm 30 now. I don't even know these Gen Z words. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in as always. Hope you enjoyed this format, a little longer form, casual chat, and more to come. Let us know in the comments if you have any video ideas or anything you want to see between now and Lake Placid. And thanks for all your support.
Later, guys.